KA Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Oh, look at this! Ken Schrader got pole position again for the Florida 500 and leads for the first 9 laps. Neil Brackett is out on lap 2 due to an oil problem. Ernie Swervin has a new look, but sadly, he's out on lap 8 due to an engine problem. On lap 9, Craig Shiftwright will take the lead, and he'll remain in the lead until lap 14, where he'll lose the lead to Larry Smith, who will lead for the next 8 laps after that. But then, on lap 24, Davey Carlson will take the lead. 6 laps later, he'll lose the lead to Murray Clutchburn, who will remain in the lead for only 2 laps. But on lap 32, Andrew Axler will take the lead, and he'll lead all the way to lap 44. But then, Mark Carton will take the lead, and he'll lead for only 3 laps to lap 47. And he'll surprisingly lose the lead to Misty Motocross, who will lead until lap 53. On lap 53, Alloy Wilson will take the lead, and he'll lead all the way to lap 75! But then, John Hicks is 34th as of lap 65, and he'll crash Kyle Traxon and Dale Carrett. WJ Lights will take the lead on lap 75 and lead for the next 9 laps until lap 84. But then, Bill Racelot is out on lap 72 due to an engine problem. Another engine problem. But then, Chuck Armstrong will take the lead on lap 84 and lead for the next 2 laps. But then he'll lose the lead to Sterling Carlin, fellow rookie, who will lead until lap 91. But on lap 91, Larry Smith will take the lead. He will only remain in the lead for 1.5 laps before Clint Shiftwright will take the lead from him, and he'll lead for the next 4 laps. But then, the King, last year's champion, will lead for the next 2 laps. But then, Daryl Cartrip will take the lead on lap 100 and lead for the next 7 laps. But on lap 107, Hall Ingus will take the lead by speeding up really quickly, and he'll only lead for the next 4 laps, where Rusty Wheelhouse will take the lead and lead for the next 3 laps. But then, Alan Karwicki will take the lead after that and lead for the next 2 laps. And he'll lose the lead to Terry Carboni, who will lead all the way until lap 122. But Jack Hicks is 6th as of lap 121, where he'll crash James Robson, who will be out for 8 races, Andrew Axler, Ernie Gearson, Claude Scruggs, Krusty Roeder, Buck Schooner, Michael Cartrip, who's down 1 lap, Ricky Flood's down 3 laps, Cole Speedland's down 4 laps, and David Carlson's down 7 laps! Clint Shiftwright will take the lead after Bobby Carboni's finished leading and lead all the way to lap 137. But then, Ken Schrader will lead for 50 laps! How?! But then, after on lap 187, the King will take the lead and lead until lap 193. But then, WJ Lights will take the lead and he'll lead all the way to lap 197 for a total of 4 laps. But then, Eugene Karbareski will lead for roughly half a lap before Murray Clutchburn will take the lead and lead all the way to lap 199. But then, Jeremy Carfield will take the lead and lead for just 1 lap 99. But then, Mike Yankee will take the lead on lap 200 and lead for the next 4 laps. But then, Alloy Wilson will take the lead on lap 204 and lead for the next 3 laps. And they'll lose the lead to Jonathan Belcher, who will lead for the next 4 laps. But then something amazing happens. Ron Pitcar is 7th as of lap 208. A loud noise is blown. The noise was blown by a 2-year-old named Parker Breakston. Ron Pitcar is alarmed by the noise, and now he's out for 3 races. Dale Earnhardt is 2nd as of lap 211, where he'll crash Jonathan Melcher and also Rusty Wheelhouse. Dale Earnhardt will lead all the way to lap 230! But then, he'll lose the lead to Misty Motocross, who will lead all the way to lap 240 for a total of 10 laps. Ken Schrader will lead for another 50 laps! How? But then, Billy Oilchanger will lead for 2 laps. But then, the King will take the lead, and he will lead for 105 laps! How? How does any car lead for that long? But then, Ruby Easy Oaks will take the lead and lead for the next 8 laps until lap 405. Chuck Armstrong will lead for the next 3 laps after that. But then, Dale Earnhardt is 4th as of lap 408, where he'll crash Chuck Armstrong and Eugene Karbareski. Chuck Armstrong's crew chief says this: Dale Earnhardt will lead until all the way until lap 470. But then, Mark Carton will take the lead for the next 6 laps. But then, he'll lose the lead to Murray Clutchburn, who will lead all the way to lap 481. But then, Chick Hicks will lead for a total of 8 laps. But then he'll lose the lead to Ken Schrader, who will lead for the next few laps, all the way until lap 494. But then he'll be passed by Daryl Cartrip, who will lead for the rest of the race, which means that he wins the 1989 Florida 500. And here's the top 20 of the Florida 500 without points, because I figured that takes too long. And you'll notice that many rookies, including Ryan Thunderbolt Jr., are actually in the top 20. Concerned about Ron Pitcar, N2O Cola hires Kevin Phillips to be another racer for their team, because they're concerned about something else bad happening to Ron Pitcar.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
This video was only so short because the King led for 105 laps, and also Ken Schrader led for 50 laps at a time twice. So, if the lead change happened more often, this video would have been longer. Andrew Axler missed the Florida 500 because he slept in.
KA Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
Rusty Wheelhouse will start the second race and lead for the first 5 laps, but then Kyle Traxon will lead for the next 25 laps after that. Wait, what? But then Chick Hicks will cause another big crash, just like he always does. Ryan Shields is out on lap 103 due to an oil complication. Dale Earnhardt is third as of lap 158, where he'll crash Bill Racelot. Bill Racelot, his new rival. Dale Earnhardt will also crash more cars. Mark Carton will lead for 99 laps. But then, Clint Shiftwright will lead all the way to lap 499, where that means Murray Clutchburn passes him on the final lap, but then wins the second race. But then, Larry Smith will start at pole position for the third race, and he'll lose the lead to Andrew Axler, who then wrecks Sammy Smelter on lap 58. Alloy Wilson will lead for 80 laps in a row. But then, Billy Ford will blow an engine on lap 175. I'm sorry, Billy Ford. But then, Chick Hicks will wreck all of these cars. Then Jeremy Carfield will get flipped by Kyle Traxon. But then, Dale Earnhardt will crash these 2 cars. But then, Chick Hicks will flip Jonathan Melcher on lap 217. About Jonathan Melcher, he's out for 10 races! But then, Larry Smith is down 2 laps because of an extra long pit stop. Misty Motocross almost won the third race, but in the end she loses to Dale Carrett, who will get his first victory ever at the third race. Sadly, Alan Korwicki will have to miss the 4th race due to a lazy hauler! But then, Davey Carlson will start at pole position for the 4th race. But then, Rusty Wheelhouse will cause this crash. Come on. And Dave Laney is down 1 lap due to a long pit stop. Chick Hicks will wreck more cars, especially Eric Goodcar, who now has to miss the next 4 seasons. Thomas Tanrev is now out for 4 races because of a similar crash. Dale Earnhardt will punt Ernie Gearson out of the way. But then, Chick Hicks will almost win the 4th race. But in the end, he'll lose to the King, who will win the 4th race, his first win of this season. Claude Scruggs will surprisingly start at pole position for the 5th race. But then, Chick Hicks will cause another crash. Dale Earnhardt will wreck Mark Roadsley on lap 174. And now he has to miss the next 18 races! Ricky Slod will also miss 5 races due to the same crash. Clint Shiftwright wins the 5th race. At the 6th race, Neil Brackett will start at pole position. But sadly, Neil Brackett is wrecked by Chick Hicks, and now he's out. James Cleanair gets flipped by Kyle Traxon on lap 180. Just lap 80 I meant. And now he's out for 2 races. Kyle Traxon will wreck even more cars. Devin Bradford Rutherford accidentally starts a crash by slamming into the wall. Will Draft Rev will accidentally crash himself and Johnny Blamer on lap 292. The King will almost win the 6th race, but he'll lose to his friend, WJ Lights, who will win his 2nd race ever at the 6th race. Larry Smith will start at pole position again on lap 7, the 7th race. But then, Sammy Smelter will cause a crash like this. Chick Hicks will cause another crash, wrecking Krusty Rotor. But then, Dale Earnhardt will wreck Terry Carboni on lap 259. But then, he'll only lose by 8 feet! But who beats him, you ask? Davey Carlson beats him, and he wins the 7th race. Daryl Draggard will surprisingly start at pole position for his first race ever, and this is also the first race where there have been 2 female cars racing the same race. Dale Earnhardt will punt Daryl Draggard out of the way on lap 3, also crashing hauling this. Chick Hicks crashes more cars, and Murray Clutchburn will almost win the 8th race, but in the end, he'll lose to Cole Speedland, who will win the 8th race. Number 8, who will be starting pole position in the 9th race, is Sterling Carlin. But he'll lose the lead to Kyle Traxon, who will later be flipped by Chick Hicks and will have to miss the next 3 races. Chick Hicks will wreck 4 more cars. Clint Shiftwright will lead for a total of 206 laps! But his father, Craig Shiftwright, will win the 9th race. Who will start at pole position for the 10th race is Mike Yankee, who will start the 10th race. But then he'll lose the lead to Dale Earnhardt, who might crash him and WJ Lights on lap 6. Chick Hicks will wreck 5 more cars, and Andrew Axler will win the 10th race. His sort of friend, Clint Shiftwright, will start the 11th race. But then, right at the start of the race, Michael Cartrip will blow an engine. Poor Michael Cartrip. But then, Dale Earnhardt will wreck 3 more cars across the race, and Chick Hicks will crash 10 cars! But then, Dale Earnhardt will only lost the 11th race by 4 feet! But in the end, Eugene Karbareski will win his first race at the 11th race. Bill Racelaw will start at pole position for the 12th race. And you know, Chick Hicks wrecks cars. And also, Rusty Wheelhouse will also wreck some cars. The King will almost win the 13th race, but he loses to the rookie, Chuck Armstrong, who wins only his 12th race ever in the Piston Cup. Mark Carton will start at pole position for the 13th race. And you know what happens next. Chick Hicks wrecks cars, and so does Kevin Phillips, who gets wrecked by Rusty Wheelhouse. About Rusty Wheelhouse, he'll wreck 5 more cars after Kevin Phillips. Dale Earnhardt will win the 13th race. Surprisingly, Buddy Breaker will start at pole position for the 14th race. But that doesn't matter because Chick Hicks wrecks 5 cars, and Rusty Wheelhouse will dump out Andrew Axler to win the 14th race. Davey Carlson will start at pole position again for the 15th race, but then Dale Earnhardt will wreck Misty Motocross on lap 52, and now she has to miss the next race. Claude Scruggs had this to say. Kyle Traxon will wreck 3 more cars across the race, but then Chick Hicks will wreck 3 more cars, and Jonathan Melcher, who missed these crashes, surprisingly wins the 15th race. The King will start at pole position for the 16th race, but then Sterling Carlin will accidentally start a pileup, which includes 20 cars! Alloy Wilson is now back on lead lap because he was put a few laps down. Alloy Wilson ends up winning the 16th race! How? But then, Craig Shiftwright will start the 17th race. But then, Kyle Traxon will cause another crash, including his rival. And then Alloy Wilson causes another crash! But then, the King wins the 17th race. But that's not the end of it, because Ken Schrader told RSN what Kyle Traxon was really up to. Chick Hicks and Alloy Wilson luckily survived. Kyle Traxon will be suspended for the rest of the season for what he did, and also be docked 100 points. Ken Schrader was given 10 points for what he did. Dale Earnhardt will start at pole position for the 18th race, and, you know, he'll eliminate Greg Candyman on lap 2. Chick Hicks will crash more cars, and Ernie Swerven will go airborne on lap 173. Chick Hicks will almost win the 18th race, but luckily, Larry Smith wins the 18th race instead of Chick Hicks. Larry Smith also starts pole position the very next race. But also, Chick Hicks will crash 11 cars! The King will almost win the 19th race, but surprisingly lose to Mike Yankee, who will win the 19th race. But who will start pole position for the 20th race? Billy Oil Changer will! Wait, what? But here's what's not so surprising. Chick Hicks crashing 8 cars! And Billy Ford blowing an engine. Poor Billy Ford. Krusty Rotor hits the wall really hard, but Billy Oil Changer will come close to winning the 20th race, but he'll lose to Neil Brackett, who wins the 20th race. The 21st race pole position starter is Dale Earnhardt, but Chick Hicks does his usual thing and crashes a few cars. Rusty Wheelhouse will also flip Ron Pit car. Ken Schrader wins the 21st race. The 22nd race is surprisingly started pole position by Ryan Thunderbolt Jr., who misses Chick Hicks' crash. Oh, he's actually put 3 laps down, never mind. But Rusty Wheelhouse started a crash. The King will almost win the 22nd race, but Misty Motocross will win instead, becoming the first female car to win since Louise Nash over 30 years ago. Bill Racelot will start at pole position for the 23rd race, but then Dale Earnhardt will try to crash him, but he'll crash 3 other cars. Chick Hicks will wreck another 7 cars across the race, but then Bill Racelot will win the 23rd race. Nice job, Bill. But Chick Hicks will sadly start at pole position for the 24th race, but he'll crash 18 cars! But Cole Speedland will come close to winning the 24th race, but only narrowly loses to Terry Carboni, who wins his first race ever at the 24th race. Murray Clutchburn will start at pole position for the 25th race, and, you know, Chick Hicks wrecks 7 cars, just like usual. Rusty Wheelhouse will also wreck some cars, but surprisingly, Phil Pitstops will win the 25th race. Clint Shiftwright will start at pole position for the 26th race, lead a few laps, but then Chick Hicks will do his iconic thing. Peter Cornfuel also crashes, but it's because he had an engine failure on lap 320. And also surprisingly, Ruby Easy Oaks will win his first race on the 26th race. Hall Ingots will start at pole position for the 27th race, but then Chick Hicks will wreck 20 cars across the race, and he wins! What's surprising is that Jeremy Carfield will start at pole position for the 28th race, but then Chick Hicks will wreck 6 more cars, and Billy Oil Changer will win the 28th race. Wait, what? And Murray Clutchburn will start at pole position for the very next race. Larry Smith sadly crashes with Jonathan Topspin. Chick Hicks will crash 5 more cars, and Alan Karwicki will happily win the 29th race. But then, on the 30th race, WJ Lights will start at pole position. Oh, that's actually his first pole, by the way. Chick Hicks will wreck 7 more cars across the race. But then, the King will almost win the 30th race. But in the end, he'll lose to Ernie Gearson, who will win the 30th race. Actually, Ernie Gearson's won before, but Davey Carlson will start pole position for the 31st race. It's like his 4th pole this season. And also, Chick Hicks will wreck more cars, just like usual. And Murray Clutchburn will win his 2nd race of the season. Ken Schrader will start at pole position for the 32nd race. But you know, Chick Hicks crashes 8 cars across the race. Krusty Rotor will surprisingly win the 32nd race. But Chuck Armstrong will start the 33rd race. And Chick Hicks does Chick Hicks things and crashes 5 cars. And surprisingly, James Robson will win the 33rd race despite missing half of the season. Alloy Wilson will start the 34th race, but then Chick Hicks wrecks even more cars because Chick Hicks. Dale Earnhardt will almost win the 34th race, but luckily he'll lose to Mark Carton, who will get his first victory ever. Terry Carboni will start the 35th race, but then, you know what happens next. Chick Hicks wrecks cars. Actually, 12 of them, including Dale Earnhardt. But Hall Ingus will win the 35th race. There are only 2 cars that can really win the Piston Cup, the King and Murray Clutchburn. But These 5 cars came close, but not close enough to winning the 1989 Piston Cup.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
KA Bullets YouTube channel.
Hurry up, now tell us why you're here.
You know only these 2 cars can win the Piston Cup, but that's not the most important thing. Brad Maverick Gonzalez is retiring after this race, but here's who starts at pole position. Alan Karwicki will lead for only the first lap, but then he'll quickly lose the lead to Ken Schrader, who will also only lead 1 lap, but then they'll lose the lead to Dale Earnhardt, who will lead for 50 laps! How? But then, Chick Hicks is 9th as of lap 23, and you know what Chick Hicks does. He crashes Phil Pit Stops, Billy Oil Changer, Rusty Cornfield, Ruby Easy Oaks, Dave Laney, Kenny Shiftright, and Ryan Shields. Also putting Hall Ingus down 4 laps. Davey Carlson will take the lead on lap 53 and lead for the next 3 laps, but on lap 56, he'll lose the lead to Clint Shiftright, who will lead for a total of 9 laps before, Johnny Blamer is 32nd as of lap 59, where he'll accidentally crash himself by blowing accidentally Michael Cartrip and also Ernie Swervin. Daryl Cartrip will take the lead after Clint Shiftright is done and lead for 20 laps. But then, Ricky Sludd will take the lead on lap 85 and lead for the next 2 laps. And you know who he'll lose the lead to? Dale Earnhardt, who will lead all the way to lap 140! But then, Andrew Axler will lead only just for about lap 140. But then, Ken Schrader will take the lead from him and lead for the next 5 laps. And you know what happens next? Dale Earnhardt again takes the lead for 80 laps! How? But then, Murray Clutchburn will take the lead on lap 226 and lead for the next 4 laps. Krusty Roeder is 17th as of lap 227. He collided into Mark Carton, who accidentally has an oil spill, and now he's out! I feel bad for Mark Carton. Besides, Sterling Carlin will take the lead on lap 230 and lead for the next 4 laps. But then, Ernie Gearson will take the lead for another 10 laps after that. But sadly, Ernie Gearson is now out because of Dale Earnhardt, who takes the lead again and leads to lap 256 for a total of 11 laps. And his rival, Bill Racelot, will take the lead from him and lead all the way to lap 274. But then, Craig Shiftright will lead for the next 2 laps after that. But then, Hall Ingus. Oh yay! Hall Ingus is back on lead lap on lap 274. But then, Terry Carboni will take the lead on lap 277 and lead all the way to lap 284. But then, Chuck Armstrong will lead for the next 6 laps after that. But on lap 290, he'll lose the lead to Rusty Wheelhouse, who will lead for the next 5 laps after that. WJ Lights is the one who caused Rusty Wheelhouse to lose the lead and lead for the next 3 laps. But then, Murray Clutchburn will take the lead and lead for the next 12 laps. But then, Chick Hicks is 5th as of lap 308, where he'll crash Krusty Roeder, Andrew Axler, Jeremy Carfield, Terry Carboni, Misty Motorcrass, and Billy Ford. But then, WJ Lights will take the lead on lap 310, then lead for the next 6 laps. But then, his friend, The King, will take the lead from him and lead for the next 15 laps. But then, Clint Shiftright will once again take the lead for the next 8 laps. But you know what happens. Actually, Alloy Wilson takes the lead and he'll lead for the next 9 laps. Wait, what? But then, Alloy Wilson is out because of Dale Earnhardt, who takes the lead again and leads for the next 31 laps. But then, Bill Racelot will take the lead for 4 laps after that. But then, Dale Earnhardt retakes the lead and he'll lead to lap 387. He'll lose the lead to The King, who will lead for all the way to lap 388. Just lap 388. But then, Rusty Wheelhouse will once again take the lead and lead all the way to lap 392. But then, The King will retake the lead and lead for the next 2 laps. And then he'll lose the lead again to Clint Shiftright, who will lead for the next lap and a half. But then, Dale Earnhardt will take the lead on lap 396 and lead for about 2 laps before the King will once again take the lead from him and lead until lap 400. But on turn 4, Murray Clutchburn comes onto the lead and you'll speed past the finish line where he'll win the 1989 Dynaco 400 and also the 1989 Piston Cup! Wait, Murray Clutchburn wins? And yes, here are the standings. The King only comes in second. Luckily, Dale Earnhardt pulls ahead of Chick Hicks to come in third place. But you know, Clint Shiftright would have beaten Chick Hicks if Chick Hicks was actually eliminated. But, as you can see, in the top 10, WJ Lights is top 10. And since I am K.A. Bullets, WJ Lights' future racer, well, I'm quite happy about that. But, well, Mark Carton still comes in 12th. Besides, Neil Brackett and Chuck Armstrong had good seasons. Yeah, Chuck Armstrong came 15th, despite the fact he's a rookie. But Neil Brackett had a really good season because he didn't crash that much and he still came 16th. Oh, I actually missed the dots, but it's okay. Cole Speedland somehow beats Rusty Wheelhouse, Andrew Axler, and Ken Schrader. And even then, Dale Carrett still beats all of them. But you know, Mike Yankee still comes behind Billy Oilchanger for some reason. And Alloy Wilson comes at least 100 points behind Davey Carlson. Ruby Easy Oaks and Eugene Karbareski do come in the top 40, but Benny Pitstops would be very happy to hear that Phil Pitstops actually made it onto the top 40, but not top 10, sadly. Ryan Thunderbolt Jr. came 35th, but the best performing car who did not win a single race was Ricky Sludd, who came 27th. Michael Karchip once again makes it into the top 40, mostly because he qualifies every single race. And Krusty Rotor is at least 1,000 points ahead of Kyle Traxon, who himself is only 5 points ahead of Billy Ford in 40th. If Billy Ford did not qualify for the Dynaco 400, he would likely not be in the top 40. And also, Misty Motocross broke into the top 20, which is actually good. Besides, Craig Shiftright actually is only 10 points ahead of Misty Motocross. And also, Dale Carrett only beat Cole Speedland by 2 points.
Remember to press the notifications button, which goes ring, ring, ring after you press it. And lightning strikes back, and that's as if you subscribed, of course. And thank you for watching this entire video.
If you watched the start of the video, you know that Brad Maverick Gonzalez has just retired. But he did come 10th in the Dynaco 400 in 1989. Kyle Traxon would have likely finished in a higher position if he had not been suspended halfway through the season. Due to his bad season, Gaspard was thinking of firing Mike Yankee. But since literally every other option would not finish in the top 40, Gaspard has kept Mike Yankee for now. You're probably asking me, why are you doing so much of the reaction after the screen showing the top 40 has already disappeared? Well, there's just a lot to react to in a Piston Cup results screen. But besides that, you could react to it yourself as well. But besides, remember to, of course, like and subscribe. And also, the 1990 Florida 500 should be out soon enough.